All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Every Tuesday call. Every Tuesday that I can make it. And for the last several Tuesdays, I could not make it because I was traveling out of state and I was conducting my mastermind. If you want to know more about the mastermind, contact me. I'll tell you all about it. It's where a group of business owners get together 4 times a year and work on their business at a remote place. We go do adventures together. We were in Colorado up in the mountains, and we did a lot of fun stuff. But that's what I was doing last Tuesday, and the Tuesday before that, I was busy doing something else, traveling somewhere. So every Tuesday that I'm in my studio, I will do this call. So welcome to the Facebook Live, YouTube, and also Zoom call. I appreciate everybody on the call here, and I have a lot to cover. And so I want to go ahead and try to mute everybody on here so we don't disturb anything. So as you come on, try to mute yourself and we'll get started here. So I have 10 things, 10 most important things you need to know in life. Okay. I have a lot to cover. I'm going to try to get through all 10 of them. I'm going to talk really fast. I need you to listen fast as well. And so there's 10 things that I think are really important. Now, obviously, we're talking about business and life here. I believe the absolute most important thing is for you to have a relationship with the Lord. I think that is the most important thing. So understand where I'm coming from when I say the most important thing you need to know in life. I'm speaking mostly from a business perspective and from a life perspective. So you may disagree with some of them, and that's okay. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but this is what I found works for me, and it makes my life simpler when I understand these things. And so I'm going to give them to you, and you do with them what you want. But number one, the 10 most important things you need to know is the greatest force in the world. Number one, the greatest force in the world is compound interest. Okay, so actually it's number 10. We're starting at the top 10 and going down to 1. Or you could just say the idea or the principle of compounding. Compounding is the most powerful force on the earth. Consider this. If you gave me a single grain of sand when I was born, I just had a birthday last week. I'm 49 years old. So if you gave me a single grain of sand when I was born, then doubled that grain of sand every year of my life, by the time I would retire at 65 years old, I would own all of the sand in the world, basically. I mean, I don't know how anybody figured that, but it's amazing if you double it every year. And you've all heard, if you give me $1 a day and double it every day, or I'll give you $1 million, which one would you rather have? I would rather you give me $1 a day and double it every single day. So suppose you have an apple and you can either eat it, you can make an apple pie out of it, or you can sow it to get another apple seed, or you can take the seed from that and plant it. How many apples are in a seed? You can count the seeds in an apple, but you will never, ever, ever be able to count the apples in a seed. I want you to understand that, because that is powerful when it comes to the principle of compounding interest. All right, so if you eat it, you're the only one eating it. If you make an apple pie out of it, maybe you can share it with your family, maybe even invite a few friends over. But if you sow it, you won't see it for a couple of years. You don't even know if it's going to give you any benefit for the first few months, but as time passes, as a seed comes out, you will start seeing it grow in your life. After what seems like a long time, you will actually have an apple tree. And still, after what appears to be a longer time, you'll start getting fruit from that one seed. Once it does, it will keep giving you fruit for eons. You can now take the fruit and use it. You can eat an apple for as long as you want. You can even give apples to your family and friends. You can make an apple pie every day for the rest of your life and give away this apple pie to your friends and family, and they can share it with their family and friends. But still, this is just simple interest. It hasn't compounded yet. So the question is, how will it compound? And I know I'm going really fast. Listen hard. When you take the fruit from the tree and start to sow that, let's imagine for a second you had one apple and you planted it. Let's say in 5 years it started producing fruit. Each year it produced 5 bushels. Each bushel has about 100 apples. So each year the tree produces about 500 apples. That's a lot of apples just from that one seed. You can take those apples and plant them. You can plant 500 seeds from the 500 apples that you got, getting another 500 trees in the second year. For simplicity, let's say you will plant all the fruit from the first tree for 5 years only. Now, I know that you can't take a seed from an apple and grow it and it produces because of genetics. You have to get a hybrid. But let's just say, for instance, that's how it works. Then you will start harvesting, but not immediately. And just to simplify this a little further, since you're planting all the apples from this tree for 5 years, we'll assume that you'll wait for the last plantation to mature before you actually start to benefit from the plantation. So you will only harvest when the fruit you planted in the 10th year mature, which will be in the 15th year. How many apples would you be harvesting now? It's more than you can imagine. Okay, so you planted 500 trees for 5 years. That's 2,500 trees at the end of the 15th year giving fruit, plus the original tree. So now you have 2,501 trees, but let's just round it out to 2,500. Each tree is now giving you. Each tree is now giving you 500 apples. Now, what is that? Each tree, 500 or 2,501 trees giving you 500 apples. That's 1,250,000 apples in the 15th year. That's what compounding does. Now, let's take a look at your money. For starters, it's something that works against you every day, it seems like. If you buy something on credit, so we're talking about compounding interest on your money. If you buy something on a credit card, let's say you max out a credit card, then you only pay the minimum payment on it. It will take you 17 years to pay back the entire amount, not because the minimum payment is so low, but because you keep paying the interest. Plus, every month that you incur interest, the bank charges you interest on that as well. Okay, so there is a silver lining to this. You can use it to your benefit also. If you invest $1 a day, every day for the rest of your life, compounding monthly at, let's just say, 10% interest, you will have invested less than $19,000 in 50 years, but you will have an excess of $450,000 in your bank. If you extend it to 60 years, this amount will become nearly $1.2 million. Okay, so it works for you and it can work against you. All right. What about in your life? Have you ever tried running a marathon? Just woke up one day and said, I want to run a marathon, and you go out and you start running a marathon? No. If you do that, you probably won't make it. For me, it'd be 1 mile. I don't know if I could run 1 mile right now. But if I practice and I just increase it, if you spend focused time and energy of practicing running, you will run your first marathon in less than 6 months if you stay at it. If you keep, because each day you get stronger and you go longer. I think Zig Ziglar used to start, when he started jogging, he said, I'm going to run to the next mailbox and then run back. And then the next day he was going to run to that mailbox plus one more and then run back. And then that mailbox plus one more. And he just kept compounding, and he eventually got stronger where he didn't have to, he could just run around the neighborhood several times without stopping. And so you can do it with your health, your strength, your mind. Try learning a subject, like learning how to do something. You don't just study it once and boom, you got it. You study it and you practice it and you go back and study and you learn more, and learning begets learning. learning layer upon layer. You learn something and that helps you to apply it. And when you apply it, you learn something else and you compound your learning in that manner. And so it's really important that we understand the effects of compounding interest, compounding, the principle of compounding. What about your relationships? If you remember back, or if you might be dating, what about your relationships? You don't ask the girl to marry you the first date. I mean, maybe some of y'all did, but that's not how it normally works. You'll probably get a hard no if you do that. But you have to build that relationship, and it compounds and becomes something much bigger and better than you thought it ever would. Okay, so that's the first thing of the most important things you need to know, the principle of compounding. You can use it for you, and it can be used against you. So you better understand what it means. Number 9, we're starting at 10, going down to 9. It says, be careful about buying money. Okay. One of the most shocking phenomenon in the modern age is buying money. You buy money all the time. And I would venture to say that a lot of you are buying money. And I'll explain what I mean here. You buy money even when it is very expensive for you to buy money. You'll buy money more often than ask anything else that you buy. The worst thing is that we don't even notice that we're buying money. What do I mean by buying money? Buying money means we spend money that we don't have in hopes that we will earn enough tomorrow to pay this off. And we're willing to buy a premium, or to pay a premium, to buy this money. We fool ourselves by telling ourselves that we're collecting miles, points, bonuses, etc., etc. This is such an excellent guise that we quickly fool ourselves without ever thinking about this. In fact, the more you talk about not buying money, the greater opposition you will get. There will be somebody in the room telling you that you're stupid to think like this, about the importance of buying money, and how you're stupid when you talk about not buying money. It really drives people crazy. Try it the next time you meet your friends. So we're talking about borrowing money. Now, I'm mixed on this. I believe there is a time to borrow money, and I think there's definitely what we call bad debt. When you borrow money to stay alive, to be able to survive, that's bad debt. When you borrow money to expand so that you can serve more clients and hire more people and impact more lives, I think that's a good way to buy money. So I'm not against borrowing money or debt or anything like that. I'm against borrowing money for the wrong reason. And so I want you to be mindful of that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one, but number 8 is something that I want to spend a little bit of time on. You are born with all the knowledge and experience you need. Okay, now what do I mean by that? You were born with all the knowledge and experience you need. I believe when you were born, God put everything on your table for you to be successful in life. Your parents, your relationships, your training, your trials, your talents, your abilities, everything that God gave you, you already have it, and you need to develop it and be around the people that can develop it. It's not like I can go and buy talent. Yeah, you can get training, but you already have it. You already have what needs. You can develop what you already have. So we're living in a world where we are bombarded with how inadequate we are. I hear so many people say, well, I could never do that. I can't get up in front of people and talk to people. I could never be a salesperson. I could never be a school teacher. I could never be this. And the fact is, you could be. You could be if you exercised all of the abilities and the knowledge and the relationships that you already have, that you were born with. So let's look at this a little bit further. The news that we listen to or watch tells you how another 19-year-old created software that some giant company bought for $1 billion. And then you look at yourself and feel like you're nobody, that you didn't do anything like that. But that's not all. Right after you're done feeling sorry for yourself, you start looking for ways to gain more knowledge, gain more experience, to become better than you are, to do things like someone else. And so don't try to be somebody else. Try to become the best version of you. Look at the talents that you have. Look at the abilities that you have. Look at the training that you have and maximize what you have. Stop looking at somebody else. So I think we need to learn what it means to become resourceful. Resourcefulness is the feeling and confidence within you that can take care of things, that you can take care of things, that you can do things no matter how bad the situation is. You will overcome it. All right. So resourcefulness is taking a look at what you have and applying what you have and your abilities to a problem, a situation that you're dealing with, and making something possible that was not already. And I believe that you already have that. You already know who you need to know that can help you overcome any challenge that you have in your life or in your business. One of my mentors told me that you already know who you need to know to be uber successful. So let me ask you a question. Do I know every person that you know? Obviously, the answer is no, I don't. I don't know everybody that you know. Ask this question about you. Do you know everybody that I know? No, you don't. There are people that I know that you don't know, but you and I know each other to a certain degree. And I'm sure that if I would ask you who is the most influential person that you know, you could introduce me to somebody that is very powerful in the business world, or maybe in the church world, or maybe in relationships, or somebody that is very influential. And I could do the same for you. And so it's only through having a deeper relationship with each other, then we can start opening up our worlds to each other and introducing people. But I'm not going to introduce the very important people in my life to just the person that I just met yesterday. I'm going to have to build a relationship because I value those relationships. And I don't want, it's like the Bible says, don't put pearls before swine. I don't want to put somebody in front of a very important person I know, because that could mess up the relationship if it's not a right fit. And so we are all born with the knowledge and experience that we have. It's already inside of you. It just needs to be grown. And sometimes mentors, coaches, and people in your life can really bring that out. Okay, the next one is number 7. And it is to learn to communicate at the 6th grade level. Yes, 6th grader. We need to learn how to communicate to our teams, to our business, to our employees, the vendors, our clients. We need to learn how to communicate at a 6th grade level. And why do I say that? I think it's important that we learn how to communicate to the point of understanding. I remember I was at a Bible school one time, and the principal of the Bible school said, explain yourself to the point of understanding. Sometimes we feel like we have explained ourselves, but our people have glazed eyes and they don't have no idea what we just said. Sometimes my wife thinks that she communicates with me to the point of understanding, but I have no idea what she just said. And it's partly because I was thinking about something else when she was speaking to me, and that's not a wise thing to do. And so Explain yourself to the point of understanding. Make sure that they understand. You see, a school teacher will explain something and then have the students review it and return it back to her to make sure that they got it. And that's what we're talking about. So here's the thing, even though you've learned to communicate at the graduate level or a high level, most people don't even talk at that level. Unless you have a PhD or wearing a tweed coat, then keep talking at your own high level and close this meeting, because most people speak at a 6th grade level. Most people do. So secretly, well, let's skip that and go to this part right here. Even though we communicate at this level all the time, we're really bad at it. So you need to get good at communicating at the 6th grade level. You really need to dig into that. And so here's a few practical steps to practice speaking at the 6th grade level. Number one, practice. That's the only way to communicate at the 6th grade level. Find difficult topics in your life and distill them down to the 6th grade level. So one of the things that I've learned from a lot of different people that I'm following and looking up to is the simple thing of simplifying it. So when somebody brings a problem to you, simplify it. Put it down into a one sentence, one phrase. And those of you that have been on the mastermind know that that's what we do in the hot seat. If you bring me a problem and you take about a minute and a half to explain it, I'm going to ask you, okay, narrow it down, make it really simple, simplify your problem in one sentence or less. And so if you want to get really good at communicating, make it super simple, simplify it. So you might want to watch a movie. This is number 3. Watch a movie or read an article, learn a new principle, and write it out at the 6th grade level. Like practice teaching it like you would to a 6th grader. Every time you're tempted to use, number 4, every time you're tempted to use big words, pick up a thesaurus and find a simpler word, an easier word, then use this word in your conversation. So we think that we're smart sometimes by using really big words, but half the time people don't understand them. And communication is not about yourself. It's about the bridge that you build. And if they don't understand what you're building the bridge with, how are they going to trust the bridge to walk across it? So trust is the bridge that communication goes back and forth on. So if you use big words and they don't understand it, they're not going to trust the bridge at all. If you have to use and or a comma, then use full stop instead. So number 6, talk in paragraphs which have short sentences. Use these paragraphs to communicate your concepts. All right, enough about the 6th grade level. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just practice simplifying it. Whatever you want to say, stop and say, how can I make it more simple? How can I just boil it down to the most basic, simple thing possible? Number 6, ask the right questions. You sound much more intelligent when you learn how to ask questions. When you make statements, you set yourself up to be challenged. You set yourself up to be wrong when you make statements. So try learning the power of asking questions. One of the things that has opened up a lot of relationships to me is simply walking up to a person that I want to build a relationship with and just say something like this. It's a statement with a question following it. You look important. What do you do? You look important. What do you do? And so I'm asking a question, and they're able to tell me about them. And whenever somebody tells me about what they do and about who they are, my learning goes up. I learn something every single day because I'm in the practice of asking questions. One of the things that we need to start saying after we introduce ourselves to somebody and they tell us what they do, say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. Or, keep asking questions. And I know y'all have heard me say this before, but there was a kid that was in college, and they were doing a test, a study. And so the school sent this kid on an airplane to fly to a different state. And they made so this certain person would sit beside this kid. And all the time, this certain person would simply ask the kid a question like, "What are you studying?" "Oh, tell me more about that." "What do you want to be in life?" "Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more." The whole flight. Several times the kid wanted to ask questions about the gentleman that was beside him, and the gentleman beside him said, "Oh, I'm not that important, but just tell me about this. I want to learn more about you." And the whole flight was about asking questions about the other guy. And at the end of the flight, they got this young man and they said, "Tell me about the person that you sat beside." And this is the word that the young man said: "I sat beside the most coolest guy I've ever met." And so they said, "Interesting. What's his name?" And the young man thought a little bit and his eyes got big, and he says, I didn't get his name." "Oh, okay. What does he do?" And he thought a little bit and he said, "You know what? I didn't I didn't I didn't find out what he does. In fact, I don't know anything about this guy." And the reason the kid said that he was the most interesting man that he's ever met was because he was interested instead of interesting. And so you have to learn how to become interested instead of interesting. And you will appear at a higher level, and the people that you're dealing with, when you will appear more intelligent, more communicative when you start asking questions about other people. So learning to ask the right questions is huge. There's a lot that I can read here, but I want to make sure we get through everything that I can. So why is asking questions better than knowing answers? If you ask the right questions, you will have a better chance of finding the right answer. If you think you have the answer, then this thought will limit your ability to find a better answer. I'm going to talk about humility here because I believe curiosity and humility are the same things. Let me ask you, and I know we get messed up a lot of times on the word humility, and we think it's kind of like we have to put ourselves down and stuff like that. That's not humility. Humility, the opposite of humility, is a know-it-all, a person that knows everything. But a curious person is wanting to learn more. It's basically saying, "I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I might have a lot of answers, but I don't have all the answers. And so I'm on a quest to learn more, to be open to other people's input." And I believe curiosity and humility are the same things. And one of the ways that we can express our humility is by asking questions. "Tell me more about that. That sounds really interesting. I'd like to learn more about what you do. Maybe we could have lunch to where we can learn more." So it's one of those things that asking questions is much better than knowing the answers, because you come across as curious, humble, and wanting to learn more. Plus, the one asking question is the one in control of the conversation. Think about when you watch TV and you're watching an interview. Think about this. Think about who is in control of the conversation, the person that is the interviewer or the person that is being interviewed. The person that asks the question can control the narrative. And so it's a way that you can learn something and also retain control. Questions help you clarify things in your own mind. The better quality question you ask others and yourself, the better your answers will become. Asking the right question is a skill. You are not born with it. You don't inherit it. You learn and you practice it. How do you learn to ask better questions? There's only one way to ask better questions, and that's by asking more questions. That's by saying, how can I learn more? How can I ask a better question? So there is no real method or technique. The more you ask, the better you will get. But sometimes you won't have anyone to ask a question to. That's when it's most important to ask a question. Take a writing pad and write out your questions. Write out questions about your business, about philosophy, about spiritual things, about relationships. The more you ask, the better you will become at asking questions. So I want everyone on this call, in fact, all of the people on Facebook, thank you so much. Please share this. I want you to just start asking questions and see how much you'll learn. And I can promise you, people that you ask these questions to will have a higher esteem about you. They will look at you differently if you ask them about some questions about what you're asking about. Number 5, be the person creating value for others. No matter how bad the economy is, no matter how many people are getting fired, no matter how many people are unemployed, there is a group of people who will always make money. If you understand this secret, no matter which way the economy is heading, you are going to make money. And life is not all about making money, but business is. Business is about making money so that you can continue serving your clients. People will flock to you literally trying to buy your products or your service and things like this. And so what is the secret? The secret is providing value. Providing value. If your products, your goods, or your services do not provide value to your clients, if it doesn't make their life better, if it doesn't impact in a positive way, you need to stop being in that business. It is your responsibility as a business owner, as a leader, as a manager to make sure that your products, your goods, and your service brings value to the marketplace. Brings value. Not brings money to you. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to serve value, to make sure that what you're selling and providing is a valuable force. So be a person creating value for others. And one of the things that I've learned in the mastermind with Luke Kipfer was the word worship. Okay. Worship. Okay. So we worship God because he is higher than us. We worship what we think is higher than us. Okay. We'll never worship something that is below us, like what we perceive to be lower than us. We only worship what we perceive to be higher. So the word worship comes from the idea of worth. It's worth something. It's worth. And that word worth comes from a word, I think in the Greek, that comes from the word weight. You've heard people, he what he says has weight to it, or he threw his weight around. That means that this person is worth something. He brings value. And so when we create value, we have weight, we have worth, and it's worth worshiping. Now, I don't mean worshiping the way we worship God. I mean, it's a thing of we place value, worth on it. Okay. And so when we start serving ourselves, we're not worshiping. We're worshiping ourselves. Yeah. We're placing value on ourselves. And that's just short-circuited. But when we place value on our clients, on our employees, on our managers, on our people, and we place value on that, we are not serving ourselves. We're serving other people. Now, I want you to think about something. I'm going to go into preaching mode here just a little bit. Before God created the world and the earth as we know it, millions and millions and millions and millions of years before he created the world. I mean, he had no beginning and he has no end. So what was he doing before he created the world? And I don't know exactly what he was doing, but I do know that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit were in heaven, because it says that he said, hey, let us create man in our own image. And so what does that mean? Image, it means that we are created in his likeness. That's scripture. It says that. And what is the likeness of God? There is nothing. Like, the Father doesn't serve himself. The Spirit doesn't serve himself. The Son never serves himself. It's the Father says, this is my Son in whom I am well pleased. And the Son says, I'm going to send a comforter, and it's going to be the Holy Spirit. And so it's like each one of those three are serving each other, and it creates this nucleus of love. It creates this nucleus, like the Father is serving the Son is serving the Holy Spirit is serving the Father, and loving, and it's nothing inward at all. And that's valuable. People don't like to be around other people that are focused on themselves. Like, I know some people right now that are so focused on their life that they have nobody else around them, because they're not focused outward. They're focused on themselves, and people run. So when you create value for the people around you, and you understand your position as a leader is there to serve, to bring value to the marketplace, you are going to understand how powerful that really is in your life. Number 4. Leave things better than you find them. These are just some principles that I came up with. Leave things better than you find them. One of the best things that you can understand in your life is leaving things better than you find them, which what this means is no matter what situation, place, job, relationship, or anxiety you are in, you leave the place better than you found it. How many times have you picked up somebody else's trash? How many times have you put away somebody else's shopping cart? How many times have you picked up when somebody else dropped off? Because for different reasons. And if, it's aggravating to have to do that. It's aggravating to have to put the shopping cart back in its place when it's only 10 feet away, and you see somebody push it into the middle of the parking lot and leave it there when only 10 more steps they could have pushed it into the shopping cart. But leave the place better than you found it. Leave your workstation better than you found it. If somebody else is coming in, leave it better than you found it. If you borrow a truck, leave it better than you found it. Take it through the car wash, fill it up with gas, leave it. That's a principle that will get you somewhere in life. You will become more promotable when you leave it better than you found it. If you're an employee, I promise you that is going to serve you better. And I think if you're a leader, that will also help you become much more employable or promotable as well. So leave it better than you found it. Number 3 is learn the 20-minute M and N morning and night rule. 20-minute morning and night rule. Here's something that's really cool. This is something that is powerful. If you want to learn something, if you want to become a master at something, if you want to learn how to play guitar, practice 20 minutes in the morning before you do anything and 20 minutes before you go to bed. It's like a bookshelf. Practice before you go to bed and first thing in the morning. Because here's what happens. When you practice something or read something or study something right before you go to bed, your subconscious mind never stops working, even while you sleep. Okay? By the way, your subconscious mind is way more powerful than your conscious mind. Way more. Have you ever been driving down the highway and you get to your destination and you realize, I don't remember anything about this trip. I don't remember turning my blinker lights on. I don't remember turning on Route 20. I don't remember, but I'm here. That was your subconscious mind doing, managing, making decisions without you consciously coming up to a stoplight and saying, okay, I need to turn red here because my map says turn. That's a conscious mind. Conscious mind is when you apply your mind to something and you're figuring it out. A subconscious mind is, me picking up this drink and taking a drink without thinking and not stopping because my subconscious mind is working. So learn the 20-minute M and N rule, morning and night rule. I remember one time somebody gave me a little puzzle. It was one of these puzzles that you have to take things apart and put it back together. And I'm usually really good at figuring those things out, but this one was a doozy and I could not figure it out. I remember trying it in bed and I got so frustrated at 1 o'clock at night, I gave up, turned the light off and threw the thing against the wall. And I went to sleep. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I had a dream about how that thing can come apart. And I woke up, turned the light on, and within 3 seconds took it apart. My subconscious mind was working on that puzzle while I slept. I literally took it apart in 3 seconds. And I could do it to this day because of my subconscious mind. And that's because that's the last thing I was doing. And I gave my brain a job to work on while I sleep. That's been proven that it's scientific. This is a huge thing. If you want to figure out, if you're getting stressed out about your day, write down a list of things that you need to do tomorrow and write it down right before you go to bed. And your subconscious mind will start working on those challenges, and you'll wake up in the morning and you'll be like, yeah, wow, I already, you'll knock them out a lot quicker than you will if you don't make that list right before. So your subconscious mind is huge. And then number 2 is accurate thinking. Accurate thinking. The ability to see things as they are and not as you are or as you think it is one of the most important things that you will learn in life. Luke Kipfer, my buddy that we were in Colorado with, said this: we don't see things the way they are. We see them the way we are. Okay. So if I would ask you, does the world have common sense? You'd probably say, no, man, the world is void of common sense. But if I told you to rate your common sense on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say? Would you say 0 like the rest of the world? Or would you say, yeah, I'm probably an 8, 9 maybe? See, we don't see things the way they are. We see things the way we are. And we apply what we think we are to the rest of the world. So the ability to see things as they are and not as you think they are is one of the most important things you will ever learn in your life. Most people don't have this ability. They think they do, but they don't. And that's why it's so important to just simplify the problems. Just go ahead and practice simplifying it, and you will start seeing things the way they actually are. Most people don't have this ability. They think they do, but they don't. They see the outside world like they think about it. The outside world in their mind is colored with their own childhood experiences, upbringing biases, things that their parents said, the punishments they got from their school teachers, not based on the truth or even accurate thinking. So here's a hint. It's, sorry, wrong page. Accurate thinking is being able to distinguish between fact and opinion. Whenever someone talks to you, they will share their opinion peppered with facts, not facts peppered with opinions. I want you to remember that. Your job is to find out what is fact and what is opinion, then to analyze the facts whenever it is important fact or a useless, whether it's an important or useless fact. Is this an important fact? Keep it in your mind. If it is unimportant fact, forget about it. Okay. So listen to the opinions, but understand that it's just that. It's like opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one. Okay. You don't need to accept it. In fact, disregard opinions altogether sometimes is very helpful. Make your decisions based on facts that you collect from the number of resources. So have accurate thinking. I want to get through this real quick. There's 7 ways to develop accurate thinking. Number 1, develop your reasoning. Okay, so there's 2 types of reasoning. The first type of reasoning is when necessary facts on which to base your facts are not available. This is called inductive reasoning. The second type of reasoning is called deductive reasoning. It's when you take away. So when you reason, you bring in what is logical, that's inductive, and then you take away what is not logical, that's deductive. And most times that's a great way to improve your thinking, accurate thinking. Number 2, never accept the opinions of other people as a fact, whoever they are, parents, teachers, friends, bosses, unless you've confirmed the source of these opinions and the source satisfies you of the opinion's accuracy. Number 3, remember to analyze free advice before implementing it into your life. One of my mentors, Ron Klein, says this. He says that opinions, what does he say? I'm trying to remember how he said that. I need to call him up anyway and ask him. But never take advice from someone that hasn't done it. That's just, he says, at that point, it's just an idea. Always go to somebody that has done what you're wanting to do. They've already done it. It's not an opinion. It's a fact at that point. So number 4, whenever you hear gossip or slander, understand that this will be a biased opinion. Whoever is gossiping to you will be biased against the person he or she is talking about. Number 5, whenever you ask someone for advice, don't tell them why you want the advice or for what reason you're seeking this advice. If your advisor knows about your reason for seeking advice, he or she will look to please you instead of giving you an honest advice. Number 6, don't believe things without proof. And number 7, ask everyone, how do you mean? What are you talking about? Explain more. So when they tell you something, get them to explain it a little bit more. All right, and then number 1 is an important one, and it's titled, You Matter. Now, I tell a lot of people that you don't matter that much, that it's not about you, that life is not about you, and that's true. Life is not about you. The world does not revolve around you. The world does not revolve around your wife. It's about serving others. So I'm going to read something here. When I was 18, this is not talking about me, it's somebody else. I was in a motorcycle crash. My friend was driving. I was sitting behind him. He had just gotten a slick-looking 250cc racing bike, and I wanted to experience the thrill of riding a motorbike. It was the first time that I'd ever seen a 250cc motorbike, let alone ride on one. Both of us, young and stupid. He had a helmet on. I did not. We were probably doing 80 when the car in front of us indicating right turn, actually turned to the left, swerving right into our path. He couldn't stop the bike in time, and we ran into its side. As I rolled over the hood of the car, flying in the air, I realized I did not want to die. Not today. I haven't loved enough. I haven't lived enough. I haven't traveled enough. I did not want to die. I hit the road and started rolling towards the pavement. The only thing in my mind was, I am not wearing a helmet and the pavement is fast approaching me. Don't die today. I stopped mere inches before I hit the pavement. My clothes ripped, my knees and elbows bleeding. Thankfully, I had rolled as I had fallen on the road, so no bones were broken. I realized then, just for a split second, I mattered. Now, you matter to the people around you. You matter to your wife, to your husband, to your family, to your best friend. And so when you understand that you matter and the fact that God created you for a specific purpose, how dare we say that we don't matter? How dare we say that I am not important? And I want you to understand that I'm not asking you to become proud in who you are. I'm asking you to acknowledge the fact that somebody much higher than you made you, and he made you for a purpose. And so you matter. And I think when we understand that we matter and what we do matter and the impact that our actions do matter with the people coming behind us, and the way we talk matters, the way that we behave matters. I think when we understand that, we understand a powerful thing that will change the world around us, change your business, change your life, change your family, is the fact that God made us so that we matter. And so those are the 10 things that I believe are very important things that you need to understand that are important in life. All right. I want to be mindful of your time. I know we went through this really fast, and I appreciate all of you coming on board and listening to us. Really do. Thanks for the comments, Joel and Chris. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your comments, and share this out. Share this video out with other people as much as you can. I want to offer this. I want to make sure that you know that you can get a free strategy call with me where we can talk about your business, we can talk about your life, we can talk about sales, we can talk about marketing, whatever it is that you want to have specialized coaching on. I want to make this opportunity for you. You can call 813-580-8920, or you can simply go to my website, davekaufmanspeaks.com, and you can schedule it there as well. So the call again is 813-580-8920, or you can visit our website, and I'd love for you to do that. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.